Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and this is going to be a review, just normal today. Interspersed between the reviews this week and the next few weeks running up to Christmas are going to be my best of 2022. If you want to watch any of those, make sure you're hitting the subscribe buttons or follow buttons, whatever you need to do on whatever social media platform you're watching this from. But today, as I say, we are doing a review, and it is Know Your Station. Now, that title is just loaded, isn't it? And it doesn't take long for this to become a fairly obvious and quite unsubtle political take on the current social economic climate. So we are going to be talking politics. Yay, look at you. You get to hear me talk about politics again while reviewing comic books. Don't worry though, this is still a comic book review where I'm talking about the actual book first. First I'm going to talk about the artwork, done by Liana Kangas. I think that's how you pronounce her name. The stress might be on the other syllable, so I'm not 100% sure. But I reviewed some of her stuff recently in True Cult, which was kind of excellent. Really played like the idea of like absolutely insane things happening within a mundane setting, and the artwork really helped with that because it is very simple. It's got a really nice economy of line to it. There is very little wasted work put into it. Everything seems to be there for a purpose, and this means you have very simplistic design work on the characters and even the space station. But then there's little extra bits and pieces like a bloody spatter against a wall, which needs to be explained, but it doesn't get that straight away. Little cuts and scrapes and bruises on people's flesh, even occasional bits of augmented reality in this weird sci-fi space station kind of ship we're on at the moment. All of it basically shows that there is, again, nothing wasted. Everything is there for a purpose, and it really does invite you to get into what she's trying to do, because if you miss something, it's kind of your own fault. Like, the information is there, like all the scene setting is there, little bits of characterization are there, and then we also have some absolutely brilliant sci-fi moments of the spaceship floating around, and a wonderful trip scene over just one huge splash page, a bit full page spread. All of it fantastic from start to finish. At least I think I'm going to love it in that way. There's a certain group of people which might look at it and think they want something slightly more clean cut, slightly more smooth. The kind of stuff that the two big publishers will put out more often. But I think you're kind of wasting a little bit there, because what you're expecting is all to be presented for you, and it's all just to be there and you see it and it's done. This one invites you to get under the skin of it a little bit more, and it works really effectively. Also does really good storytelling, which the writing helps in quite a lot. The main part of the storytelling is dialogue between two characters. The main character, our certainly not detective, she's a liaison officer, and the ship's AI, Saint Bridget. Saint Bridget, by the way, is the patroness saint of Ireland, or possibly almost certainly stolen from a Celtic goddess. And I kind of like the idea that this being a very femme-heavy, femme-led comic book, they probably know this, and almost certainly will have seen that this kind of appropriation has happened and having a little bit of fun with it, and I like that. But the dialogue between these two characters is fantastic, and it just adds so much to the world and to the characterizations throughout. And it does this by having conversations about what's going on in the world rather than just saying things. I've seen before characters in comic books talk to the characters and say stuff like, "Oh, I'm so paranoid." And I always feel that's a little bit lazy. I mean, unless they're like a genuinely complicated character that isn't actually that paranoid and is trying to confuse people, make them think they are, so they're going to second guess themselves. I don't think that's the case most of the time. I think it's just lazy writing. There's none of that in this. This is a character dealing with a whole bunch of issues, mostly addiction, which comes up to it, problems of knowing her station. Again, really obvious. But done really nicely, and dealing with power structures that are in place, and also trying to solve murders. And all this comes through in a genuinely nice way. There is not much in the way of a negative pushback on the fact that she is dealing with addiction issues, or she isn't one of the higher-ups on this 1%er space station. Just occasional comments, the fact that she doesn't look good, but she's a woman in a position of authority, so of course people are going to say she doesn't look good. Again, though, this leads into, I think, what the comic book is doing really quite effectively. And here we go, let's talk some politics, because yes, this is the idea of a 1%er organisation leaving planet Earth because of ecological disaster and taking the best and brightest with them, and also a few other people to work there. Reminds me very much of what I imagine the early days of Rapture would have been. If you've ever read, there's an actual Bioshock novel, worth checking that out at some point. But it's not quite gone to hell yet. It looks like it might be starting with these murders going on, and they are brutal and unforgiving. And you also get like really obvious like power structure play delivered at the front with the various departments you're going to work with, and what your expectation would be if you're working for these departments or doing general work or security work. It's unsubtle. It's probably the only criticism I've got of this book, and I don't mean it to be a huge negative thing, but in the first few pages, it very clearly sets up this idea of 1%er ultra-capitalist society and the people who have to go along with it because they really have no other options. Now, This is only issue 1. This story is going to develop, and I absolutely trust the creative team, writer Sarah Gailey, specifically to get under the skin a little bit more of this and show the inner workings of it and how dissent is going to breed. I think this is going to be a great read for it. But for an issue 1, that bit it is tacked on quite heavily at the front. But then, again, we get into brilliant stories, brilliant characters. The murder mystery really isn't the thing that I was excited about. I'm not big on crime fiction. But near-future sci-fi, dealing with 1% and socioeconomic stuff, yeah, exactly what I wanted and done so well. Absolutely worth checking out. That's it for me for now. Like I said, make sure you hit subscribe or whatever so you don't miss any of the rest of my videos these next few weeks. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.